Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Today we have a little project. It's not going to be a card. It's actually going to be a little decoration for a tree. And I still don't know what to call it. I'm sorry, I'm still getting over my cold, but I finally have a voice, even though it's a little scratchy. It might go in and out sometimes, but please forgive that. We're going to use some of the papers from the Stamps by Me A Winter. Let's see what it is. A Winter Story. Okay. And I'm going to use one of the vellums. And I have two of the papers so far. I don't know if we're going to need more, but we'll figure it out. So I want to make an ornament that I'll make a little hole in the back, and we're going to insert one of the lights from the tree, because I'd rather not have to fuss with batteries or anything like that. So if it's already there, it'll work fine. But I'm just trying to figure out what dyes I'm going to use. So let's see. I don't think I'm going to use this one. I think I like the size. Hold on. Yeah. Of this. So I can get this image. And let me put a paper behind it so you can see it better. So I want that little snowy scene there with one of the deers. I hate cutting into this paper, but we have to do it. Anywho, all right. So that's going to be that. So what we're going to do is, of course, I'm going to cut this out of a bigger paper so then when I have to mat it in the back, I can. What we're going to do first is we're going to use our biggest die that's going to go in the back by itself, and yeah, I think for now that's what we're gonna do. Let's get that done first. So we're gonna trim this, and if you have any nesting circle dies or any shape that you want to use, I think you can do the same thing. This is 110-pound cardstock. It's a little thicker. Since it's not going through the mail or anything, I just want it to be firm so when it's on the tree it doesn't get warped or anything like that. Alright, so we have that one, and of course that is going to have a back to it. We're going to use one of these papers for that, and hopefully it'll cut. Alright. So now we have the back of our hanging ornament. All right. So obviously we have to now make the inside that's going to hold, the outside part that's going to hold our vellum. So we're going to use our smallest die and our largest die, and we're going to put them together. That might be too small for this. Let me check my dice. I'll be right back. Okay, so I used one size down, and I think that's going to be better, because for this to work, I'm going to have to glue some paper around here just to attach everything together, and I need space for that to fit. So I think that works a little better. It's not a ton of room, but it's enough. And what I'm going to do is, since I want both of the top papers to be the same size, I'm going to cut them together. So I'm going to trim this one. Don't throw this away. We could use it. And then we're going to use this one. And I'm just going to lay them the way they would end up on our project. So this way, if you want, you could trim it a little bit. Let's trim this one down. Okay, so here I guess all you have to figure out is how much of this design do you want? Do you want the design? I kind of don't, because this is kind of busy already. So I think I'm just going to stick with the wood and the little snowflakes. And now I'm going to have to push it next to me so I could get this even. Let's see how even I can get it. This is handmade, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as closest to it as you can get, it'll be good. All right, I'm gonna put a little piece of tape there to secure it. And we're gonna cross our fingers and pass it through. So this is basically a lot of die cutting right now. So we have this, save this. You can always use this for another project. And we have that one. And we have this one. So we have that going on. And then when we put this one, we're going to have something like that. And then of course the light will illuminate all of it and you'll be able to see it. Now you have to decide, what do you want around here? Do you want a little trim? We can cut some to see what it looks like, and the way we're going to do that is, so you're going to take the small size and then one size up, and we're going to do this, the inside one first. So let's get some gold. Let's cut a piece. This is nothing fancy. This is this Dollar Tree foil board. And we're gonna try our best to get these even. So let's tape it and let's run it. And okay, hopefully nothing moves. Let's see. So you get this little ring, which is what I want. I just don't want to mess it up now. Come on. All right. So now if you want it, once you glue this all together, you could put a little ring around it and it just kind of finishes it off, right? We can do it like that, or we can do it both on both sides. It's up to you. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Okay. Put that to the side. And now we just have to figure out assembly, right? So we want this to be a little bit lifted, of course. And I guess I want about 1 inch or so of separation. And then we can put the light in two ways. We can either leave a slit open on the bottom and just when you put it on the tree, you could just insert the little light through there, so this doesn't have to be so thick. Or you can make this a little wider and then insert the light through the back. The choice is yours, but I don't want it to be too thick, so I'm just gonna do about 1 inch, which means that I'm gonna cut a piece of paper that's 2 inches. That way I have I can make slits to form the part that gets glued. I don't know what you call it. I know it's in my head. Dangerous place for it to be. Okay. We're gonna use our guillotine right now. So let's put that to the side. And then remember I said not to throw this piece of paper away. because that's the one we're going to use. And if we need to cut another piece, we can. But for now, I'm going to cut this at 2 inches. All right. Now we're going to need our scoreboard. We're doing this step by step. It's this way. Okay. And we're going to score this one at 1.5 and 1/2 inch, or 1/2 inch and 1.5, whichever way. All right. Now, this part, this is going to be as neat as you want it to be in the inside. If you're picky about how the inside looks, even though it's not going to be seen, then you could do it this way. And I'm going to score these now to this line at 1 inch. And I'm going to go to the other score line, right to it. I'm not going to pass it. So let's go 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Don't let it move. And keep going. And let me get one. Let's do this way. 1 inch. Before we cut anything, we're going to really burnish this or crease it. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing to this side. So we have something like that. Now all we're going to do is we're going to take our scissor and we're just going to go ahead and everywhere that we cut, we're just going to cut at an angle and meet at the little score line on top. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm going to do that and be right back. Okay, so we have that done. And I cut an extra piece because I think I'm going to need it. And now we can start gluing some of this in place. Now you can make the choice of if you're going to glue it on the inside of the circle or if you're going to glue it on the outside. Because remember, we have a piece that goes in the back, and we can always cut another thicker piece of cardstock to put on the back of it before putting our decorative piece. I think I'm gonna glue it to the back only because I want it to be a little easier for me to do. And then we'll figure out the front. We may have to trim this a little bit for the front, but we can get that done. So let's get our adhesive. And I'm just going to start with a couple of spots and just taking my time to get this done. Because this is a time that if you rush it, you can mess it up. So let me push all that into place. And then I'll hold it there for a moment while it dries. even though this is wet glue, it gets like tacky pretty quick. So just hold it, and then we can keep going. This gives me time to move it a little bit. Okay. Hold that in place. All right. Get some glue in there, and we're gonna just finish these off now. Okay. And we leave it there to dry for a second before we do too much to it. So we end up with something like this, right? Now, to finish it off, we're gonna, of course, use this cardstock. But this is where you're gonna decide where you want the hole for your light to be. And I'm taking, let's see, we're gonna need to cut this just about here. So let's cut this off. Just angle that off. So we need this size. And then we're gonna punch a hole wherever we're gonna put the light. Let's get my hole puncher. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're gonna punch our hole just about there. And now you have to decide how you're gonna hang it. You could always make a decorative piece there and hang it from there, or you can use like string and a wire. We maybe should start putting on outer trim before we do that though. No, we'll probably just do something that we glue on top. Okay, see, this is when you're creating without a plan. This is what you get. All right, so I'm gonna glue this part in place first. Let's put some glue here. That way I have something to form, right? Okay. Oops, pulled it too quick. All right, let me hold it there until it dries and then I'll be right back. Okay, so that dried. Okay, we're gonna hold that until that dries a little bit. some glue on this part. And again, I'm going to hold it there until it sets. Okay, so now we're going to need a couple of 1-inch strips of the gold. And I'm going to try to cut these as straight as I can. Just trim that there. And then I'm just going to flip it. And we're just going to form these by hand. We don't have to do anything too much to it. Just make sure that it starts getting a curve. And I'm doing this now because I need to punch that hole. And I think I said that, but I'm going to say it again. All right. So we're going to really do this. And we can just glue these in place. And this will be glued all the way around. I'm just gonna use my finger a little there. And then we're just gonna start putting it down. Any glue can be removed with the adhesive remover at the end, so that is not a big deal. Okay. Now we're just gonna need to complete it. You could have made this a little more even, but this is not a big deal to me. You're not gonna be able to see this much. So let's put the glue. And let's create that seal there. Okay. And we're going to stop just about there. So let's cut it. You can do this with a guillotine. I'm just going to try to eyeball it. And just about there. Okay. Okay. This allows us to do two things. One, now we can go in and make the hole for our light do our decorative piece as well. So let's get that going. So we have that. And we can also see where we're going to put our little piece. Maybe our string to hold it. And I'm just going to try to eyeball this. And let me get a pokey tool. So maybe about here. And we have that going on. And now we could go in through here and just make that hole a little bigger. The reason I'm not using the hole puncher is I don't want it so big that my string will get out, and that'll provide me enough space that it won't. And we could just make a nice tight seal. So now you got to figure out what you're going to put through here. Are you going to use ribbon? Are you going to use string? That's entirely up to you. Let me find something and I'll be right back. Okay, so my intention was to use some thin twine, but I can't find it. So we're going to use ribbon instead, which means that I will be able to use my hole puncher on the smaller setting to make the hole that I'm going to need to pass that through. All right, and I'm just going to see where I put that mark and just punch it. So we have a smaller hole there. Now we're gonna take our string here and we're gonna see how much we need. I'm just gonna cut there. We're gonna make a knot. Figure out how much you need for your tree to hang it on one of your branches. It all depends if it's artificial or if it's a real tree. And just to be safe, I'm gonna knot this twice. Better to be safe than sorry. So we have that. And then I'm going to trim this. Now I'm going to work this through the hole. So that's why it was important to do the decorative piece now, because it'll be harder to do all this when your piece is almost finished. So before I do that, I'm going to add glue to the top of this. That way it adheres to this and it won't fall. Okay, so we have that. Okay, now we're going to work on the top piece. Now, remember I said we may have to trim these. We're going to have to, because the circles that I'm going to use are a little bit smaller, and I made a mark so I know how to pair up my two decorative pieces, my decorative piece when I'm done, so I know more or less where it goes. Okay, but right now we're going to trim these down just a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just trimming it down a little bit. I'm going to do that all the way around and I'll be right back. Okay, so if you really wanted to, you could have cut a bigger ring for this side, because it's going to be a pretty tight squeeze and it may not look perfect. But since I already cut my decorative piece, I'm just going to continue it on like this. You could have used one size up and then just had like a little piece hanging up here, which will really like frame it well. But we're just going to continue the way we are, and I'm just going to do it nice and slow, squeeze everything into place and then move on. So I'm just going to start with our first little piece here, and where I have my mark, my little green mark, I'm gonna put it where that ribbon is. And I haven't applied the vellum or anything yet because that's gonna go on top. I just needed the space to be able to hold things in place while I glue, making everything easier. All right, so we're gonna continue on. This is gonna take a minute, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I tried it. As you can see, it left too much of that bottom piece in, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut a piece that's a little bigger, and I'm just gonna do it out of the gold since I wanted to put gold anyway. This is gonna be my way of working it in, and all I'm gonna do is try my best to get this as even as possible. Let me find that center one. Is it this one? Yes. And I'm just going to use that centerpiece to hold it in place. Let's make sure that it doesn't cut it. So let's do that. You know what? I don't want to chance it, so we're just going to try to get these even. Let me tape these down. I need it closer to me and I'll be right back. Okay, so I was able to cut it out, and I also cut out our vellum in just a larger die, just a little bit bigger, that's all. Now we can start putting this thing together. And before I attach anything, I'm going to see how this behaves. A spot to make sure that our lines look okay. So we're going to kind of layer things up now, right? And we just have to decide where we're gonna put the vellum. I think we're gonna put it on the inside. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna sandwich it. I think that'll be the best bet. So first I'm gonna attach it to this one. And I think for that I am going to use, I want to use the glue, but then vellum with glue doesn't behave very well. So maybe we'll use our tape runner. Okay, let me see where I put that thing at. Alright, so whatever you use, just make sure that it's permanent. If you feel comfortable using the glue, go right ahead. So I'm just gonna put my tape. Let me get it started first, because I know my tape is finicky. My tape runner. So I'm just gonna start here, and I'm just gonna work around. And just keep going. We have our little green spot there, so I'm just going to try to put our image as straight with that as possible. And just put it down. So we have that. and that'll go on top of here. You can go ahead and glue these first and then put this on. That way you know exactly where you're gonna put the whole thing, which I'm gonna do that. Yeah, as you can see, I didn't calculate that right. When I did my mark, I wasn't paying attention to my, let's see if I can move it. Sometimes you could get the vellum out. And sometimes you just gotta leave it alone. All right, we're gonna leave it. I wanted my pattern to be the same way, and then, but whatever. It was my fault. I made a mark the wrong way, so it's not a big deal. All right, so let's go ahead and glue this on top. And I'm gonna put some tape and maybe a little bit of adhesive too, just to hold everything in place well. So we have our tape runner and maybe a little bit of glue on the edge. All right. So we'll just put a teeny bit of glue on the edge. Okay. So of course we're gonna follow our design. And now we're gonna just make sure that we fall in the center. It's pretty good. Okay. And now we can glue all this in place. Make sure our seam matches up, right? Because that has to be straight. So when we hang it, our seam is good. Right. You can move it a little bit. Now, if you were worried about all of this, you shouldn't be. Because if you take this and you just rub it, and all of that goes away. That's why when I'm working with the foil paper, I'm not too concerned. But I'm not going to bore you with that. I'll clean that all up before I hang it up, make it look beautiful and very little flaws. All right, let's put our backing. This is going to be our back cover. And we're just going to glue this in place. If you're using, I don't know if you're going to give this as a gift, you can always put a message back here too. You can always put something there. But let me get a Christmas light so we can show you how it looks. Now we can put this if we want, and yeah, I'm gonna do that. Might as well finish it off. Carefully. And then we're gonna try to get this as close as possible. And that just gives it like a finishing touch. You could put a ribbon here. You can put a little sign that says Merry Christmas, or maybe on top, which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a little tag or something on that. But let me get a light so you can see what it looks like, because this video is getting really, really long. I'll be right back. Okay, so the whole point is that then you can take a light and insert it, and it glows. And you can hang it from your tree. I will, of course, put a ribbon, a little bow, and add like a little sign that says Merry Christmas. But that's what we have. Let me shut off the light so you can see it better. So that's how it'll glow. So that's my project. Thanks for bearing with me. Oh, my light is all weird right now. Okay, it's adjusting. I think it's a cute project. I've been thinking about it. Just didn't know how I was going to execute it. And yes, I could have come up with plans before I came on, but what fun is that? Then you miss all the chaos. That's my project. If you have any questions, just leave me a message. I'm going to type everything up, and then I'll add it to the community part of the YouTube so you guys can see all the instructions. And I'll probably put it on the description later, but I'm just going to try to get this up there. Anyway, guys, have a great one. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye.